Welcome back to the Sound for More channel. Today we are going to focus on the journey of learning Harmonizer a little bit more, and we're going to focus on the outputs of Harmonizer. Before I continue, I would like to remind my viewers to subscribe as it helps with growing the channel. Thank you very much. Okay, so we first create a MIDI channel and then an audio channel, and then we choose as an audio source Buzz Zone, which is a fantastic synth. I recommend it. We go inside it, maximize it, and also bring a select a preset like this one. Perfect. Next, we're going to load Harmonizer as a MIDI processor. So we're going to search for it, select Harmonizer. Now we need to connect the two. But before we do that, I create another MIDI processor node and I click on it and I select Grunt Stuff. And the reason for that is because I can show you what happens with the notes that we generate. We also bring up the AUM keyboard, okay? And we ensure that the AUM keyboard is going inside Harmonizer. So we click on the left side here. We choose as a MIDI input just the first one for now, and we select keyboard like so. Now, if I press a note, nothing happens, but you can see there is signal going inside Harmonizer. Now let's make the first connection. So we connect Buzz Zone to Harmonizer, and here we are going to start with the main voice, and we're going to do the same on Grunt Stuff, so you see what is happening. MIDI input, Harmonizer, main voice. Now let's open Grunt Stuff and let's adjust the size like so. And let's move it here so we can see it. Okay, now if we press a C4 here, you see that note is played by Buzz Zone and is also represented in Grunt Stuff as a C. If I press two notes, C and E, they're both represented. Now let's change the MIDI input of Buzz Zone to voice number one, and we do the same also for Grunt Stuff. There it is, and we remove main voice. Now let's press on the C4. There is no note which is heard that is reaching actually Buzz Zone or Grunt Stuff. And you can do the same if you, for example, select voice 2 like so. You will find that there is again no sound. Okay, so now let's open up Harmonizer. Now we have connected voice 2. Voice 2 is this one which is off. Now if you were to change that to the second here, let's press a C4. It will play a D, okay, because D is the second. Remember, you need to check the scale which is selected here. Root C. And scale is major, right? So this is the C, the second is a D here. If I was to say select the third here, it will produce an E, okay? Now, let's go back to the connection and let's change the input away from voice 2 to combined, okay? And we do the same for Grunt Stuff. And we choose combined and remove voice 2. Now let's press a C4. Combined means that you have the main voice plus the other voices. In this case, only voice 2 is active, so you have the third, therefore a C, which is the main voice, and then a third, which is an E. And that happened just pressing a C. Of course, I can move this. For example, I could say instead of a third, I click here and I go below, and I can say go one octave below. You can see there is an C underneath here, so an octave below. So hopefully these explain how you can connect multiple voices. Of course, you can have also voice 1 active. So let's say that voice one is a third and the voice 2 is an octave. In this case, you need to make the right connection. So you need to either leave it on combined, or you can choose 1 and 2 and also main voice 1 and 2 as well together. I leave it in combined for the moment, the same for grand staff. So I press a C4. So I have an octave below, okay? Then I have a third, and I also have an octave below and a third, yeah. So I have 3-note playing, an octave below, which is this one, the third, and then of course the main voice, which is a C. Now let's deactivate voice number 1, like so, off. This is where it gets really interesting. Let's enable ARP only on voice 2, and let's click and hold the note here, see. So the main voice is actually held, while the second voice, which is an octave below, is repeated by an arpeggiator. And here are the setting of the arpeggiator. Indeed, I could actually slow it down. Which is quite good. Now, I could go to voice 1 and say third and press a C. So the C main voice plus the third are held, while the voice 2, which is an octave below, is repeated by an arpeggiator. And this is where it gets even more interesting, because if I enable ARP on the voice 1, so he's arpeggiating between these 2 notes or voices, 1 and 2. So the one which is an octave below and also the one which is a third. So, okay. Of course, I can obtain the same effect if I was, for example, to remove the combined and enable voice, main voice 1 and 2 as well, and I can do the same on grand staff, like so. So hopefully that explains how you do the connection from the outputs of a harmonizer to whatever inputs you actually need. The fun thing, of course, is that if you have different instrument, you can create different effects, right? And let's start with that, because it makes sense to give you a quick demonstration. So let's duplicate bass zone, and let's choose a different preset here, like for example this one, and then let's connect this one to, for example, voice 2 only. And the first one, we're going to connect it only to the main voice and the voice number 1. Okay, so let's press C. So that's quite interesting. So we have the second voice, which is going to the second instance of bass zone, where we have a bass sound. And then we have the main voice and voice number 1, which is going to the first instance here of bass zone, where we have that pluck sound. Additionally, they are arpeggiated, voice 1 and voice 2, but not the main voice, of course. That is why you hear that C and a third being arpeggiated. And you can have even more fun. For example, you could duplicate these again, select a different preset, like for example a pad, like this one, connect these, for example, only to the main voice, there. Let's check that the second instance here is connected only to voice 2, and let's check the first instance, and we make it connected only to voice 1 because the main voice is now associated to the third instance of buzz zone. So let's try. So you can see that you can create some unique effect, and at the moment I'm not even using voice 3 and voice 4, which of course you can set it to whatever you like, and also have the arpeggiator on and off. Of course you could also, for example, change the repeat, but you need to be careful to what you do. And so on. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and as always, see you next time. Bye.